Hello and welcome to another episode of the TF Cast. My name is Willis.
Hey, Zach here, and the date is February 23rd, 2022, I think.
And I am your host, Jacob Bases. Today with us, we have guest Alastair Weston to talk about his project in Mankato, a new venue and tea house, the Enchanted Muse. Alastair, please introduce yourself and let the audience know where and what you're up to.
Hey, nice to talk to you all. My name's Alastair, and I'm opening the Enchanted Muse Art, Music, and Tea Lounge here in Mankato on South Front Street. It's open to all venue and a tea house for people to find their own inspiration.
That's awesome. And where is it at?
We're at 731 South Front Street, right in the heart of West Cato, and in the old Mankato Ballet Building, a big old historical building. So
Right on. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with that. It's a neat area.
So there's kind of a lot going on in the space. You have a tea house, a recording studio, and a venue. What's the vision for rolling these things out? And like where did you come into the idea of taking on this kind of like ambitious like multi-faceted project?
Well, we started out as just the tea house in just the little spot that we had there, and then the entire building became available. And so instead of having a gallery and a tea house and a venue just smushed into one spot, we expanded into the whole 4,300 square foot area, and it really gives us a lot more opportunity to have a lot more space for expansion and to get some nice, better bands in there and a lot more artists. And so we're really excited at the opportunities this creates.
What kind of programming do you intend to have right off the bat, and what is your opening schedule like?
Well, we're opening soon. That it's been a long journey working with the city of Mankato to get all the permitting and this sort of thing going. We've been working on that for a solid year. So on March 5th, we have the Gustavus Adolphus Jazz Ensemble coming in for a jazz jamboree on the stage, and we're looking to open with that. One of the things we're doing is having a wide variety of musical acts in there. We're going to have jazz night and EDM night, and we hope to get some hip hop battles in there and open mics for everybody to show off their talents.
Are all of the shows going to be all ages shows, or is there going to be it is kind of like a all ages all the time space?
Oh yeah, for the time being, that's what we're going for. We're looking to be a musical venue in town where you can bring your grandfather and your grandchild in at the same time and have the whole family come in and enjoy music in a friendly and welcoming environment, for sure.
You mentioned that there was going to be a tea house and a venue. So we went and checked it out the couple weeks ago now, I think, and got a little preliminary tour of the space. Got to see the stage and some of what you had set up there. One of the things that I really liked was kind of the layout, how it felt like you could kind of enter the space and then there were different areas for different things going on. I guess, like, can you talk a little bit about what you imagine, like, what kind of what you're hoping to create in this space? So, like, paint the picture for someone, what they might see if they entered and, like, things were going on. Maybe once the construction's done.
Well, the tea house is coming in. We've got our conditional use permits now, so
Great.
We've got all the counters and all this from. We've got the old Uncle Albert's Cafe's counters in there, and
Nice.
so yeah, a lot of people like the nostalgia factor of that.
Yeah.
And if you come into the tea house, it is your standard coffee shop where you can get sandwiches and tea and goodies like baked rolls. Our next door neighbors, the Barcadal store, are providing us access to their full kitchen that they're getting installed. And so
awesome.
we have a lot of baked goods for vegan and gluten-free options and this sort of thing as well. And so that's a space where you can just sit back and read a book and have a quiet time and find your inspiration that way. And then right next door, we have our main gallery where you can check out all the art that you want to and see our local artists. And further on, then, is our large venue area where when we have music, you can gather and see who's on the stage and have a little dance party.
What type of capacity do you have? What is the city allowing you to have in there?
For the full capacity, we can fill the place up basically. So it's we have plenty of parking in back. Alongside the Bethlehem Lutheran Church has agreed to let us use their large parking lot, and so bring anyone that you can. In the cafe itself, I believe we can have about 40 people in there, and the gallery and the venue are standing room only, and hopefully we get a large crowd.
Yeah. Well, what brought you to all this, and starting a cafe venue? Do you have experience working with music in your past, or cafes or something like that?
Oh, absolutely. My family history is that they founded the Fujiya restaurants in the Twin Cities, the first Japanese restaurants in the city. So I've been around the restaurant scene for my whole life, and really have wanted to start a venue like this since about 2005 or so. And just recently, the building became available. So I thought I'd jump on the opportunity and toss my hat into the ring and get it going. And there's a lot of opportunity for creative space here in Mankato. That it's gotten a lot of positive feedback from people. So,
and what was it about? Is there anything about Mankato or the area? You said you're coming from the cities, or I believe you'd also maybe mentioned off camera that you had lived out west for a while too. Do you determine a particular need, or do you just like the area? What brought you to the Mankato Ballet? Building?
For sure. I went to college here in the early 2000s, so I fell in love with the town. I was from the cities, but I was pretty much done with living in a large city. So I fell in love with the forests and the people around here, and really enjoy it. And one of the things about Mankato is that there is a proliferation of artists and musicians. I mean, they're everywhere. And so I'm just trying to be a part of the community and make a home for people in town here, for sure, to express themselves and to be inspired by each other. Sure.
You also mentioned, you said something about March 5th, that there was going to be a jazz show there. That's pretty soon here. That's very soon, actually. It's a couple weeks out. Is there a soft opening, or like if people want to start trickling in and, checking the place out, when can they start going in there?
So we'll have the music venue and the gallery sections open at the beginning of March, so that people can come in and check out the art and check out the music. And the cafe should come along about a month after that. That it's just a matter of getting the permitting from the city at that point. And we all know how quickly the city of Mankato works on things. And so it's really in their hands once we can get the cafe. But we're looking at the beginning of April for the cafe section.
Cool.
Yeah.
What has the process of working with the city like to build this thing? What has your experience been?
Well, it's been pretty enjoyable as far as the city inspectors go. They're very full of information on what we can do. We just had a meeting with the City Planning Commission at the beginning of January, and they were delightful. They unanimously voted us into existence. And for the most part, it's just a matter of making sure that we are up to code, and they have pretty exacting standards in this town. So people should feel good that the food code and the building code and everything like that is really up to snuff with the city. Very professional people.
Sure. And so you're about a month away from opening a cafe. What kind of, you mentioned like a kitchen and like a partnership with a bakery. What type of items are we going to be seeing on the menu?
Oh, this is a typical tea house cafe. We're working with Curiosity in North Mankato to get a proliferation of teas. Heidi at Curiosity is great. She knows all about tea. So she's bringing her best into the cafe there. And other than that, you should expect some light lunch fare. You got your sandwiches and wraps and juices and energy drinks and good desserts. So come in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner for the cafe. One of the things we're offering, like I mentioned, is gluten-free and vegan options. We've had so many requests for vegan options in town that we're looking to help out that community quite a lot. So.
Sure. I mean, I found myself driving up to Curiosity, at least a couple times a month because their menu is just like, I don't know. It's just nice to like go up there and see like, oh, I can eat anything,
Right.
Like it's almost worth the experience alone, if you're a vegan person.
And that you mention it, that's one thing that I got off of from the West Coast is to have really fine food. And so we're looking to get top notch. We have all of our very nice vendors in from the West Coast, and so vegan cheesecakes and all this, yeah, it should be really good.
Yeah.
Enchanted Muse, where'd the name come from? What's behind that?
Well, we believe that everybody has a muse, and it really makes you think, like, what enchants your muse? What tickles your fancy? What drives you on in a creative fashion? And this is what we're hoping that people can find at the Enchanted Muse is their own inspiration into life and to live an inspiring life. So,
I like that. So what's your history with music? I know when we were touring the space, you talked a bit about experience working with different kinds of equipment and different groups. What sort of give us a little rundown on your history with musicians and.
Oh, sure. Well, personally, I've had a dozen years of training at the MacPhail Center for the Arts in the Twin Cities. In being a classical pianist, and so I have some idea of what it's like to be up on a stage and perform and all this. And out on the West Coast, I owned a recording and broadcasting studio, and so I've brought the equipment in town here, and I'm really trying to get the premier recording studio in town here, and I have. Two Fish Studios, a lot of their equipment moved in now, and it looks like there's a real opportunity in town to get the local bands recorded and mastered to a high degree and up on the map, so that we can really spread around the music in this town. One of the goals that we have is to have enough of a music scene that people will come down from the Twin Cities to check out the shows and this. So
yeah, we've kicked that. Like that's one of the things that I think that like for the price of parking, it's worth it. Like people. Right. We've had this conversation 1,000 times in the podcast about how like Mankato could just be the thing. People could come down here, bands could come down here. So I'm glad other people are taking it upon themselves to do the thing too, because that's exactly what we want to see.
Oh, I agree. It sounds like we have a very similar vision there, and it's going around the community. So we're heating it up and making it happen.
Sure. So we kind of like glossed over it really quick in the beginning, and when you talked about the recording thing, like there is going to be a full recording studio, like in between, like it's in between the tea house and the venue and behind the gallery. But there is like space for what will be some kind of I guess what's the that's an additional business. How many businesses are made of this thing?
Well, we're going for that fusion concept, everything is fusion nowadays.
Yeah.
And the recording studio is very, very exciting that we're looking to have a recording or podcasting studio if people want to do a podcast and have interviews very much like this, that they can come right in and sit in front of the blue screen, and we have all the microphones and equipment set up so that maybe people that are trying to podcast out of their living room and this sort of thing can get into a nicer, more professional space. And when that room is not being used for recording or these sorts of purposes, we're going to have a sort of a VIP lounge in there with comfortable seating and nice chill tempos as far as the music goes, so that people can sit and relax and, again, enjoy a nice book or whatever it is that sparks their fancy. So,
that sounds way cool.
Yeah,
with the planning process, and not to get back into working with the city too much, but certainly like an ambitious project. Was it and getting close to launch date? So has it kind of met the expectations, or did you encounter a lot of unforeseen challenges? What's that been like?
Well, like you mentioned, it's basically 4 different businesses, and so there's not one set of standards that we have to follow. It's now 4 different sets of standards, and the difficulty has been for the city themselves going, how do we categorize this, and how do we make these rules? And so it took them a little while to figure out what exactly they were working with there, to provide us what we needed to give for them. And it finally took a few different city officials to figure that out. But once they got it down, the paperwork worked out very quickly, and we moved it right through. And one of the big challenges, of course, was parking until the Bethlehem Lutheran Church, their board of directors, came on board and very much have been supportive on our behalf towards the city, and that's really helped out a lot too. That a lot of the community members have jumped in and talked to the city, and so the city of Mankato seems to really listen to the public once they started to talk to them, and to also the Mankato Free Press. We got a nice article in there, and that really seemed to get the city to move a little bit faster. So that was nice for us. Yeah.
A few times you've said we. How big is the group of people who's working on this project? Like, so far we've only really interfaced with you, but is it family thing, a group, a collective?
Oh, sure. Well, there's myself. I'm the head of the ship, and then beyond that, we have some writers and artists and some musicians that have been working as consultants on this project pretty much across the board. And well, I know you guys came in and checked out our sound setup and this sort of thing, so you can be considered part of that we as well.
Sure.
That yeah, we're definitely taking your advice and getting this moving forward. And all the people that have helped us do the construction and the electricity, all these sorts of things. So
It's more of the royal we then.
well, yeah, I'd like to think of us as a nice big family moving this forward, because everybody has an input and everybody's valuable along the line. I certainly couldn't do all of this just by myself,
Yeah.
So I'd like to think of myself as a creative individual, but it takes a town to make this go. And so it's been we've been working on this for a solid year now, and it's definitely been a process of generating new ideas and really working it up to what it is now. So,
what kind of feedback have you gotten from the community in general? One of the things that people regularly tell us is like just how like out for an all ages venue Mankato is. Like we just like need it. So like I'd like to know like what some of the things people have been saying, to the person who's going about opening one.
Oh, it has been fantastic, for sure. That I've yet to meet a member of the public that doesn't want us to open. So that's very nice. And like you say, there's a lot of demand out there that the Muse has been contacted by the Southern Minnesota School District, who wants to host their Poetry Out Loud Nationals at the venue, and Gustavus Adolphus College, who is looking to get off the hill, as they say, and get into the neighborhood. And so the Muse is the place that they want to get to. And the church itself, a lot of entities like this, that they don't find like a bar or something like that appropriate for their situation. And they need a nice big space that they can draw people into. And so the excitement is there. For sure. One of the things, the only feedback that we got from the City Planning Commission was one of the members lives in the Lincoln Park neighborhood, and she says, "We can't wait for you to open." So it's that sort of feedback from the locals that it's really underdeveloped over there in that in that side of town, and to have a place that they can come and hang out and call their own is really it seems people's hearts are set on it. So.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Well, is there anything we haven't covered? I think we've kind of dove into the food. We've dove into some of the music. We've dove into the venue space, a little bit about your process. Is there anything that we haven't kind of touched on yet that you think's important about the project, or would you want to let people know?
Well, we can talk about the artists and vendors themselves. One of the things that we're trying to do is take the local artists and elevate them to a higher level, and make sure that we have we're going to have gallery showings for them that center on the artists themselves, and we can bring the public in and have them interact and mingle with the artists. And to that end, we're also taking people's art and putting out T-shirts and notebooks and other such merchandise, because people are much more apt to get a T-shirt or a notebook than just a piece of art that they can put on their wall. And that really spreads out the opportunities for the artists that we have, and allows us to sell them online and these sorts of things to a wider audience all over the internet. And in a very similar fashion for the shows that we're doing, we're recording the shows and streaming those online as well. So maybe if somebody can't make it to a concert or something like that, they can always catch it later on our websites and on social media. So
I also almost forgot. Are you still doing the publication? There's a zine, or I don't know what exactly is. When I first heard of the Enchanted Muse, I think it was handed to me. It was a brochure or a booklet or a zine.
Right. You can call it a zine. The Enchanted Muse Quarterly is an art magazine about the art and music scene in all of southern Minnesota. So we're really focusing on artists from anywhere in the region, and with interviews and recipes from Curiosity and all kinds of things like that. To again, our goal is to take the local artists and spread them around, and to really improve their visibility. And we've had one edition of the Enchanted Muse magazine out there. We printed off 500 of them, and those disappeared right away. So I'll have to do a larger print run next time. Yeah,
that's fun.
And I guess I have one more. What's the long term goal? Like if you were to think about the Enchanted Muse and its impact in both 5 and 10 years, what would you like to see?
Oh, absolutely. I would like to see that Mankato gets thought of as a thriving arts town, and really improve the tourism of this district. Give us a cultural identity as a town, so that people recognize the creativities of the locals and what we're all about down here. And so that people will come through and say, "Hey, we really want to visit Mankato because it's a real place of arts and music in southern Minnesota that's very interesting to see." So
Yeah, I mean, I do think that having some more things, like, there are already a number of projects that, work to do some of those things, but having them all in one space where I feel like someone could, walk from one to another, it might drive some of that too, where you could really, make a whole afternoon out of something. So it's heartening to, hear that's what you're in it for.
Well, sure. There's a lot of places around town. You have your 410 project, and you can get concerts of the Coffee Hag and this sort of thing. And we're really trying to unify that into a scene. It's like it's like Ocho says that if you're the only place in town, you're the only place. But if you're one of many places, then you have a scene in town. And so we're trying to promote everybody else out there too, so that when people come down, they'll check us out, and they'll check out the other galleries, and they'll check out the other venues in town as well, and make an afternoon of it, as you say. So
awesome. Do you want to do plugs?
Yeah. Where can people find the Enchanted Muse or your projects? Where can they check it out?
That's it. You can check us out at theenchantedmuse.com, and some of our artist merchandise is already up on enchantedmuse.store. Or check us out on Facebook or Twitter at The Enchanted Muse on either of those. And you can see the first edition of the Enchanted Muse Quarterly also on theenchantedmuse.com.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining us, letting us know about it.
Oh, absolutely. I really want to thank you guys for this opportunity to get the word out there. And this has been a blast.
Cool.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We're excited to check it out once you open up.
Great. I hope to come back on after the doors are open and promote some artists and promote some musicians. So
yeah, that'd be cool.
great.